Welcome back to Ask Abundance. Today I'm joined by Rebecca Smith. Rebecca is a limitless practice grad who came aboard Team Abundance. She has a premium fee private pay practice in New Orleans, and she's really great at helping abundance therapists imagine what's possible for them. She is going to tell us today's question.
Yes, I am. Thanks, Allison.
Mhm.
Okay, today it says, I've been a therapist for 7 years. I have solid training, and my current clients get real results. I'm new to private practice, and every single time I have a consult call scheduled, I spend the hour before it convinced that the person is going to somehow figure out I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't matter how many good sessions I have, the doubt just resets. How do you actually move through imposter syndrome in a lasting way? Or is this just something therapists learn to work with forever?
So I want to thank TherapyNotes before we get started on this answer. They are our sponsor for Ask Abundance. I've talked about them for years. I know their features by heart, but what truly sets them apart is that they genuinely care about your experience. It's not just about troubleshooting. They actively implement user-suggested features like therapy search, secure messaging, clinical outcome tracking, and their AI notes feature Therapy Fuel. Everyone at TherapyNotes believes in the product and wants you to love it too. Plus, they're independently owned, which means no venture capital and no pressure to prioritize investors over customers. This independence allows them to keep their prices fair, to focus on innovation, and prioritize customer experience. With over 100,000 therapists already on board, they've proven you don't have to compromise success for quality. If you're ready to see for yourself, try Therapy Notes free for 2 months with the code ABUNDANT at therapynotes.com. All right, what are your thoughts?
Right. Ugh, imposter syndrome is the worst.
Hmm.
That's my first thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it's really interesting because I think that there's a lot coming up here. Obviously, this person really does know what they know that they know. They
Uh-huh.
know that they're like my clients get results. I've had years in this business. But it's still coming up probably because it sounds like there was a recent switch to private practice.
Yeah,
And
probably.
the thing that my brain like kind of narrowed in on for this one was that they describe it happening particularly before consult calls. So
Hmm.
before you're meeting this person for the first time. And we can get into whether the imposter syndrome happens outside of this context in a minute, but specifically for the consult calls, I think that there's something really powerful about getting in the right mindset for consult calls
Hmm.
and being your best. And of course, that's exactly when imposter syndrome comes up.
Hmm.
And I think that for me, reminding yourself that the consult call is not about you
Yes.
at all.
Let's say that
It has
again.
nothing to do with the
The
therapist.
consult call is not about you.
It's not about you, it's about the client.
Hmm.
And the client wants it to be about the client. This is not
Yes.
just you like pushing off the attention. This is you recentering the attention in the proper place.
Yes.
And so, because the other thing is, 9 times out of 10, they're not interviewing you for your credentials, for your expertise, for anything like that. They're desperately hoping that when they say the scariest thing that they've ever had to say to another human being, that that person listens and is empathetic and does exactly what Allison's doing right now with this like smiling, nodding thing, right? Like they just want you to say, "Oh, I can help with that."
Hmm.
Great. And so if this imposter syndrome is coming up before the consult call, my advice would be to really get into this mindset and have a mantra of like, I am so excited to help this person find what they need.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
And not even I'm so excited to tell them how much I can help them because I have a PhD in whatever. It's like, no, I'm excited to help them make their decision.
Hmm.
And likely that mindset will help them make the decision that they'll book with you.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting how like there the imposter syndrome that comes up when you're new to private practice and you haven't had to do consult calls. Like this person said, like,
Yeah.
I've been doing this 7 years. Like my people get results and now they're in private practice. And this sense that they need to prove themselves or convince or sell themselves in the consult call is usually what trips people up. And it is the exact wrong thing to do. Like you
Yes.
said, it's about them. I really, y'all, all I want you to do in this consult call is ask them, tell me a little bit about what's bringing you to therapy. And then
Yeah.
shut your mouth.
Yeah.
And then when they've stopped talking, to validate it, you're not doing therapy here, to be like, God, that sounds like it's been really hard. Um, you can ask them, and I always do, like, we'll have some back and forth, just normal conversation about what they're struggling with. And sometimes I'll be like, yeah, that sounds a lot like my clients. Um, they struggle with X, Y, and Z. Does Y also like bother you? Is that something that's a part of your
Yeah.
life? And they're
Let me
usually
show you that I know your experience.
exactly by
Yeah.
asking you, not telling you.
Yeah.
And then I say, so from my perspective, like you sound like so many of my clients, it feels like it would be a really good fit. What questions do you have for me so that you'd know if I was a good fit for you?
Mhm.
And most of the time, they don't have any questions.
Right. They're like, when can I sign up?
Yeah, exactly. But it gives them that space, and you want
Yeah.
to give them that space to ask any questions.
I agree, but it also gives them hope,
Hmm.
right? I think that providing hope is a really underused portion of the consult call. To
Hmm.
say like, I've heard this before. I understand this. Like, I think that this is something I can help with.
Hmm.
How can I help you decide if it's the right fit?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll share an experience. Like I was looking for a provider for my daughter, and somebody had come very highly recommended by people I trust. So I already knew we were gonna like sign up with her. And we got on the phone, and she literally talked for like a solid 10 minutes about her background and what she does and how she does it. And I was glazed, like I know the words she's using and I'm glazed over, right? And then after all that, she asked about my daughter. And I was still committed to seeing her because everybody had said, she's fantastic with this. But I was like, if I hadn't been convinced already, I would have been unconvinced
Yes.
by everything she was, because it was not focused where it needed to be focused, which was on my child.
Right.
So
Did
take
you
the
offer
pressure
her
off.
coaching
I
services?
desperately wanted to because she ended up being great, and I really like
You're
enjoyed
like, I
working
can
with her.
also help you.
I know I have to bite my tongue so much, Rebecca. Um,
I also think with this one too, how much of this is also a money mindset issue?
yes,
Because have they ever had to have a session where they then had to be like, please give me money? Like that is a
right,
really awkward thing for private practice if you're used to like a hospital setting where you're getting paid by a boss
right.
versus having an interview every few weeks where you might get somebody who's giving you money. That is it's a whole different mindset. So that
Yeah,
might come into play too.
yeah. And so it can feel like an interview. And instead, I would love people to go back to what you said originally of like, this conversation is you just helping this person find the right next step, whether it's with you or someone else.
Yeah.
And when you're coming at it from that kind of like clean generosity, those conversations always go great. There's no
Yeah.
desperation in it. There's no proving or convincing. We don't want to prove or convince. If you're proving and convincing because it feels like the person requires that, they're probably not a good fit for you.
Right. And then
Because
you do what that provider did and you create a self-fulfilling prophecy of like, I'm not enough.
right,
Because I tried
right,
to prove so hard that I'm enough.
right. And I think like there are areas of business where that's what you do.
Not ours.
Not ours. And so I think people are often like following a different model that like their uncle told them about who's in sales,
Oh,
right?
bless. Yeah.
Right.
You're not selling a house. You're asking people about their trauma.
Yeah, yeah. So you don't have to prove yourself. You can just like the way you prove yourself is by listening and paying attention and holding space in a way that helps them feel seen.
Yeah.
And then answering their questions honestly. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
what else do we want to say about that? I think, oh, another thing that makes it way easier is to have a script, especially these first, however many calls. Like it's not like this person is still early in the getting calls because there's not been any exposure therapy yet.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're not succeeding in converting calls and that's why they continue to be so nervous.
Mhm.
We have a first phone call script that I'm going to give you guys as a free worksheet. And just having this, which is, basically what I said, but now you don't have to jot down notes. Um, it's going to help you feel like, okay, I know what to say. And literally, like the thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people have used this script and it works. So it's very validated. Use it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we'll put that in the show notes and in the in the caption. I keep forgetting the word caption.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely. And remember that it sounds potentially like this person didn't have imposter syndrome at their previous job. That's just time.
yeah,
So, like, you had 7 years in that one. Give it a couple years in this one. I think
yeah.
too.
And like also you have all these years in the profession, like probably the first couple sessions with people, with the first handful of people feel kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing in private practice, even if you've been doing it for decades. So know that that's normal. Imposter syndrome shows up when we're doing something new. And when I still get imposter syndrome all the time, and I'm like, okay, good. I'm challenging myself.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So,
Imposters don't get imposter syndrome. They're relieved when they get away with it.
right, exactly. Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca. I will talk with you soon.
Absolutely. Bye.